Hi there, welcome back. How are you doing, my beautiful beings? How are you feeling today? So in this gorgeous video, I wanted to bring something forward that came out for me this week, and I didn't realize sometimes we're so set in our patterns that we don't realize we're doing things. And it's about putting ourselves second. Second. Other people are always more important. We're not important. The other people, they're more important than we are. More important. So just focus on them, Now, this pattern came up for me from the story I told of when I realized that me being good at school, was something that was hurting my sister because she didn't like school. And so she felt forced to, read and do things that she didn't like doing, But the more my parents praised me for how well I was doing at school, the more it upset her, I could feel it. I can still feel it in my energy, when I think back to it now. And I could always hear in the background, why can't you be more like your sister? Always. I grew up with those words, And so it just came up recently. One of my beautiful friends was coming to visit Australia. And at the time it was because, her mum was in hospital and I said to her, well, your mum's in hospital, you really need to focus on that. And so, and you'll want to be with your family because you don't get to see them all the time. You've got brothers and sisters here, like she's got all her family here, And so you want to spend time with them. And so I was putting all of them first and not thinking of, well, what do I want? She's my friend. And, at the time I was talking to her 3, 4, 5 times a day. We send each other messages all the time. But I didn't once stop to think, what do I want? I was thinking, no, but your mum needs you. She'll want to spend time with you, and your siblings need you and they'll want to spend time with you. And, she also has a best friend that lives here and she stays with her when she comes. And you want to spend time with them as well, with your best friend and all these people that want to see you. They want to spend time with you. All the while, I didn't stop to think, well, what do I want? I kept putting all these other beings that I don't even know first. Her mother, her siblings, they're all first. They're all first because they're family. They're more important. They're more important. And what happened? When my beautiful friend went back home, she felt that because of the message I gave her before she even came to Australia, that I didn't want to see her. I wasn't interested. That's how it came across when I sent the message. And it was after I received that message from her that I thought, wait a minute. I thought, why did I do that? Why did I do that? Because I've hurt her now. She thinks I didn't want to see her. And that wasn't the truth. But why did I do that? And all of that came up as I was sitting with it. All of that. That I've always put others first. Always. Others are more important. And it comes from that old pattern from when I was little, that I don't want others getting hurt. But this life is about you. It's not about others. And they are on their own path. I learned very early on with my daughter that I can't save her from suffering. I can't save her from getting hurt. I can't stop it. I've had quite a few moments in her life where she's cried and cried and cried, and I couldn't do anything about it. No matter what I said, it didn't make a difference to her. And when I began this journey, I understood she was meant to go through that. It was part of her path that had nothing to do with me. See, I grew up that, you don't want your kids to suffer. You don't want to see them crying. You don't want to see them upset. My mum was always of the mind that she would do anything and everything for us to not suffer. This is what I grew up with. This is what I thought love was. But love is allowing, Unconditional love. Unconditional love is allowing each being to have their experience. Unconditional love. It's seeing that that person needs to go through that, or look, you don't even need to see it. It's just, okay, even if you don't understand it, it's part of that person's path, not yours. It's hard enough trying to understand why things are on our path. Why did I need to go through that? What was my soul thinking? Seriously? You couldn't have thought of something a little bit easier, a little bit better, something nicer? What were you thinking? You know, I have these conversations with my soul all the time, but it's not the same experience. It's not the same. Falling down and grazing your knee is not the same as falling down and breaking your leg. They're not the same experience. And so it is with everything. It's not the same to have a mother that yells at you than to have a mother that smacks you. It's not the same to have a mother that abuses you than to have a mother that neglects you, that wants nothing to do with you. It's not the same. So, my beautiful beings, I have talked about my beautiful daughter's experience. What happened was in kindy, she had this best friend, in case you're thinking, well, what was this experience? You know, how traumatic. She had this best friend through kindy. And when they moved into year 1, they got separated. And this friend decided they no longer wanted anything to do with my daughter, right? Because now they were making all new friends in their new class. And so she would come out at recess, she would come out at lunch and looking for this beautiful friend. Do you want to play? Can we play? And they'd be like, no, I have these new friends now and we don't want you to play with us. So they would literally say to her, you're not invited, you're not included, we don't want anything to do with you. And so through most of year 1, she sat, she spent a lot of time by herself. And we got to the last term, which is October, November, December, the school term here in Australia. And she made a new friend. She decided, well, okay, that friend that's done. She realized it wasn't going to come back. No matter how much she loved that friend, it wasn't coming back. That friend wasn't coming back. That friendship wasn't coming back. So she made a new friend. And they spent all of year 2 together. That was the end of year 1. Now we're moving on to year 2. And they were besties. But then came year 3. And in year 3, guess what? They got separated. And so she would go to school crying every day for, I think it was almost 6 months. Because this friend's going to leave me now. She won't want anything to do with me now. And I've got to start all over again. All over again. And what happened was she was losing trust. That she would give herself, her love, her everything to these beings. Only to find that if they got separated by class, that they would no longer want her. And she would cry and cry and cry every morning that this friend, she was going to lose this friend. That was her fear. And we had so many conversations. If that first friend from kindy hadn't separated from her, she wouldn't have found this second friend. She wouldn't have this friend now. She would still be with that first friend because she loved that friend. That friend was everything in her eyes. And now this second friend was everything in her eyes. And I know these 2 beautiful beings were serving her experience. They got to the end of year 3 and they were still besties. Besties all through year 4. And then year 5, they started bigger groups, different friends, and they just went separate ways naturally. Not because, we're in separate classrooms, but they just migrated to different groups by year 5. But they had a good year 3, year 4, 2 full years. Besties, And then she started high school and went through the same. Mum, I have to start all over again because all of her friends went to a completely different high school. So 2 weeks before high school even started, she had already worked herself up into this state where she was crying all the time. And then the first 2 weeks of high school, crying, because I have to start all over again. Do you see there's a pattern of people leaving and her having to start new friendships? Because this is her path. Me, I spent all of primary school with no friends. I had books. I didn't need friends. I had no interest at all in having a friend. They couldn't teach me anything. If anything, I could teach them because I had read so many books. But for me, the only people that I needed to look to were the teachers. They had all the information. Teachers and books. That was my childhood. I didn't have that pattern playing out because for me, it wasn't part of my path. My soul hadn't chosen that pattern. It hadn't chosen that experience. But what I learned from that beautiful experience with my daughter is that what she goes through, her pain, her suffering, is part of her path. And I can't do anything about that. I can't make it less. I can't take it away. I can't make it not happen because I don't want to see her cry. I don't want to see her in pain. All of that are the notes in her song. My beautiful beings. All of that, all the pain, all the suffering, all the tears. They're the notes in your song. They're not even dissonant notes. They're just notes. We don't need to call them anything. They're part of your song. So, my beautiful beings, you'll notice, if you were really listening to that story, you'll notice that there are patterns that repeat. They repeat and they repeat and they repeat. And just as they repeat for my beautiful daughter, they also repeat for everyone. There are patterns, and there's a reason for those beautiful patterns. And that's because that is what your soul is here for. So until you really look at those patterns and understand, why is that pattern there? What am I meant to gain from that pattern that keeps showing up in my life? Really look at it, but more from the eyes of the soul. Observe it. Observe the patterns that keep showing up for you. Observe them. Without judgment. It's not through judgment that you will find the answers, but through wonder and curiosity. Look at it as you would. Why are you there? Why are you there? With love and wonder. What are you trying to show me about myself? Because that's what it's always about. Many times the patterns are beliefs that we've created about ourselves. We create the beliefs around the patterns. They keep appearing and we start to attach beliefs to them. Oh, this happens. This happens. So what happens when your friend no longer wants to play with you? You're not good enough to be with that friend now? You're not worthy of that friend's love? What are the beliefs that you're creating around that situation? I'm just going by her pattern, by her experiences. What are the beliefs that we create about ourselves when we're rejected by the one being that we placed all our trust, all our love into that one being for a whole year? They were our best friend in the world. They were there for us. And now they're not. They don't want us anymore. They don't want to be our friend. What does that say about us? There's something wrong with us, that they no longer want us. You see all the beliefs that we create around it? Now, are any of those beliefs true? Is there something wrong with you just because they don't want you anymore? Are you worthy just because they don't want you anymore? Does it make you unworthy? Does it make you unlovable? They don't love me anymore. I can't be loved. This was the one I took away as a child for a really, really long time. When my sister was born, I felt like my mum didn't love me anymore. All of her love was being poured into my sister. I'm not loved. I can't be loved because I'm so different. If I weren't so different, she could love me. This is what I took away from that whole scenario. These were the beliefs. And for the longest time, I felt like an alien in my house. Like I had been dropped off, and any minute now, hello, you guys coming back for me or what? And the other one was I was waiting for them to tell me any day now that I was adopted. I wasn't really theirs. Because I was so different in so many ways. My beautiful beings, what did you take away? What did you start believing about yourself? And those beautiful patterns will keep repeating themselves for you until you look at that belief and realize the truth of it. That you were always worthy. You were always good enough. You are love. And you have always been loved. All right, my beautiful beings. We love you dearly. Remember to click like and subscribe so you don't miss any of the messages. And we'll see you in the next video, okay? Bye for now.